Hey there nation, and welcome to the show where we help you to play miniatures wargaming on a budget. It is I, Commander Chiefskate, and welcome to Way of the Underhive, your ultimate guide to Games Workshop's gritty and immersive skirmish game Necromunda. Whether you're brand new to the dark depths of Hive Primus or a veteran looking to sharpen your skills, this series is your go-to resource for mastering all aspects of the gang. From gang warfare to campaign strategies, we've got you covered. And on today's episode, we're actually doing a very interesting episode by focusing on a brand new possibility for Bad Zone Enforcer gangs. I was actually looking at some videos I made in the past, and one of my commenters, Joel Rutherford 4510, he actually talked about painting up some of his Pal Knight Enforcers to look like trauma team operatives from Project City Red's game Cyberpunk 2077. And I thought that was a really cool idea because he was talking about actually making a Pal Knight Enforcer gang that you basically call them the Pal Knight Hospitalers, and their job was pretty much the same thing as Trauma Team performs in the Cyberpunk universe. They travel on vehicles, they save VIPs and account holders who have in dire need of medical care. The Trauma Team operatives also engage with anybody who's hostile trying to kill their target. They retrieve their target and they fly out. And I thought it'd be a really cool idea to make a gang that was based on that roster. So in this video, we'll talk about playing what we're calling basically a Trauma Team style roster for your games of Necromunda. So because it's a narrative-based gang, let's get into the background narrative of it. So, in the depths of the Underhive, when the weak scream for salvation and the strong bleed out alone, who answers the call? Who brings order to the chaos? Trauma Team does. Trauma Response Enforcers, high-threat intervention specialists. When your life is on the line, when the Guilder's credits are at risk, when the gang pushes too far, they drop in. Fast, armed, and uncompromising. They are not the local badge boys patrolling drinking holes. They're an elite private sector force funded by those who matter with one job: stabilizing assets and eliminating threats. They don't play fair, they play to win. Augmented reaction times, lethal force authorization, and state-of-the-art medtech ensure their clients get a second chance at life, while everyone gets a first-class ticket to the corpse grinders. Gang wars, not their concern. Territory disputes, not their problem. Contract holder bleed out, now that's their business, and they don't take failure lightly. Join the best or fear the worst, because when they touch down, someone walks away and someone doesn't. Trauma Response Enforcers: revive, retrieve, and eliminate. And that is the theory that is going behind this Bad Zone Enforcer gang for your games of Necromunda. So let's talk about the gameplay style with this group. Now, this gang actually is a pretty good balance of shooting as well as close quarters battle. It doesn't matter if you got the 1,000 credit starting rosters for your campaigns in the Underhives, the Underhells, 1,400 credit rosters for the Ashways, or 2,400 credit rosters for the Aranthian Session. You have a pretty good balance between both those assets in your gang. At the same time, this gang is also survivable. There's a lot of Medicaid kits in this gang as well, so that way they can start reviving people if in case anybody catches a serious injury on the battlefield, just because that fits overall the narrative. We also have bioscanners in the gang as well, so that we can scan for people if you're pulling sentry duty and detect enemies as well. And we also have rogue dogs on the payroll as well, so that way they can take care of anybody who has to go on a medical escort mission. At the same time, my main recommendation for you, if you want to make this game a little bit more survivable, is buy some bio boosters whenever possible, so that way you can reroll injury rolls, and it just kind of fits overall narratively with our gang. And of course, we do have some vehicles that we're including in this game. We're going to break the rules just a little bit in order to get some of the upgrades that you usually can't get when you start off when building a vehicle, but I think we're doing this because it's actually fitting it to it narratively, especially when it comes to using like AV4 type vehicles in your games in Necromunda. So let's go ahead and talk about your very first roster. This is the Bad Zone Enforcer roster that I would recommend for our Pal Knight Hospitalers, is what we calling these guys. Thank you, Joel Rutherford, once again for the name suggestion. And this is going to be a gang called Trauma Team 009. It's going to be your starting roster for campaigns that take place in the Underhive, out in the Ash Waste, or in the Underhells of Necromunda. So we have a 1,000 credit starting roster, and then we have a 400 credit roster for vehicles and mounted fighters. So let's talk about the roster for Trauma Team 009. First of all, we have our leader, Captain Kale Redline Orlin. This person's going to be a Bad Zone Enforcer Captain, rating 195 credits. This character's got an armor undersuit already when they actually recruit the fighters, so they have a 6-up armor save, but we're going to stack that with mesh armor, giving them a 4-up armor save overall. And we're also equipping this person with an Enforcer Bolt Gun, and the reason why is because unlike the other members of a Bad Zone Enforcer gang, the sergeants, or your champions, as well as your captains, don't suffer from the broken supply line special rules. So it's actually in their benefit for them to actually use the Enforcer style weapons. So the Enforcer Bolt Gun is a very powerful shooting attack. It's a strength 4, 2 damage attack. It's also got a 4-up armor save, ammo save, because it is an Enforcer Bolt Gun, which is quite nice. We're giving this guy a stub gun as a backup weapon, as well as manacles, because they automatically come with that. And we're giving this character the fast shot skill so that they can shoot twice as simple actions per shooting phase. You want to put a lot of firepower out with this Enforcer Bolt Gun, and since you do have a 4-up armor ammo save for it, it's not going to be a big deal if you roll a misfire on your rapid fire dice. After that, we're going to have our first sergeant. Our sergeant's going to be Sergeant Medex Koran, who's going to be a Bad Zone sergeant, racing at 135 credits. This character's going to have an armored undersuit as well as mesh armor for a 4-up armor save as well. We're giving this person a concussion carbine, and the reason why is because they are also not affected by the broken supply line rules. So having that nice shorter range 3-inch blast template that causes concussion would be very nice in order to pin a lot of enemies as well. We're equipping this character with a stub gun as a backup weapon. They automatically come with manacles, and we're giving them the Overwatch skill so that way they can interrupt enemy activations and open fire with that concussion carbine. And if they manage to pin your opponents, they take away your opponent's activations. So it's a great way to kind of control the battlefield into your to your advantage. Now we're going to start getting into your fighters. We have Trauma Tech Echo. It's going to be one of your Bad Zone Patrolmen. Rated at 95 credits. They have armor undersuit as well as mesh armor for that beautiful 4-up armor save. And because they do have to worry about the broken supply line rules, we're going to actually switch up the weapons and make it a little bit more basic. For this character, they're going to be armed with an auto gun. Pretty simple basic weapon, but it doesn't fall victim to the broken supply line rules, so that's why we're using this as your character. They also got a stub gun for a backup weapon, as well as manacles because they automatically come with it, and we're giving this character a bioscanner so that way they can also look for opponents during sentry duties. Plus it overall fits narratively in the idea of what this trauma team is supposed to do. Ideally, trauma teams move into a really hot combat situation to look for their clients in order to save them because they probably need medical assistance. So having a bioscanner to search for that patient kind of fits in the narrative. At the same time, these guys also suffer from the broken supply line rules, which means that typical enforcer weapons like combat shotguns and bolt guns and concussion carbines, that means their ammo is scarce. Unless they actually run out of ammunition for their ammo roll, they run out of ammunition for the rest of the battle. Luckily, basic weapons like auto guns and last guns, not really much of a concern, so that's the reason why we're equipping your Bad Zone Patrolman with those weapons. And speaking of which, our next fighter is going to be Trauma Tech Kilo. Now, Trauma Tech Kilo's also got armor on the suit as well as mesh armor. Last gun this time, so that way they have a little bit better accuracy at longer ranges. We got a stub gun for a backup weapon as well as manacles, and we're giving this fighter a Medicaid kit. And the reason why is because it fits narratively with what this group's supposed to be. They're supposed to be first responders in medical situations that can also fight, so having a Medicaid kit kind of fits that overall narrative. In addition, you could also use that to help kind of reroll injury dice in order to help your fighters out in case anybody takes any serious injuries, help them get back on their feet again and avoid out of action results or maintaining a serious injury as well. Our next Bad Zone Patrolman is going to be Trauma Tech Halo. This character is going to cost 135 credits as well. They have armor undersuit as well as mesh armor for that 4-up armor save, as well as a shotgun with solid and scatter ammo. And the reason why they're equipped with that weapon is because it's not subject to the broken supply line rules, and it's a very powerful weapon already. We're giving this character a stub gun as a backup weapon as well. They automatically come with manacles, and we're also giving this fighter a Medicaid kit as well, so that we have 2 Medicaid kits running around with your fighters. That way you can take care of anybody who managed to take a serious injury while on the battlefield. And once again, this guy also has the broken supply line rules because all Bad Zone Patrolmen do. Now that we're done with our badge zone patrolman, let's talk about your enlisted Hive scum. So Joel Rutherford actually talked about this idea that he had of using hired Hive scum in his gang as kind of like delinquent account holders who weren't paying their bills, and because they weren't paying their bills, the Trauma Team decided to put them to work as indentured servants, going on very dangerous missions like this until they pay off their debts. And I thought that was a really cool idea that Joel Rutherford came up with, so because of that, I decided to include this in the list. So our first scum is going to be named Delinquent Account Holder number 113. This is going to be your enlisted Hive scum. It's going to cost 90 credits. This fighter's got an auto pistol as well as a flail, so that way they can fight in close combat, and they also have frag grenades, and they have the expendable conscript special rule. Now, your Hive scum in this list are going to basically be just close combat fighters for the most part, and the only reason why they're coming along is because they're going to act as grenade mules. They're going to be throwing grenades at your enemies to kind of keep your enemies suppressed and away from your fighters as you progress to the battlefield. Now, all your enlisted Hive scum are also going to suffer from the expendable conscript special rule, which means that they cannot be included as part of group activation, so that is a bit of their handicap, but it adds a little bit of interesting gameplay mechanic for your bad zone enforcer gang. Our last two fighters are once again going to be enlisted Hive scum. We have delinquent account holder number 114. This person's armed with a stub gun as well as a chainsword. Chainsword gives you +1 to hit in close combat, also gives you parry. It's a great general all-purpose weapon. Once again, packing frag grenades, and they also have that expendable conscript special rule attached to them as well. And your last fighter is going to be delinquent account holder number 115, another enlisted Hive scum costing you 90 credits. This fighter's got a stub gun as well as a two-handed axe, so that way you can use that to chop people down. Now, the reason why I'm also using some of these weapons equipment as well is because Joe Rutherford was talking about using some naval breachers from Kill Team to make up his gang, so because I thought it'd be kind of cool to do the same thing with these fighters and use the Axe Jack as well as the Hatch Cutter miniatures if you wanted to use that for this gang. And that's why this character's armed with a two-handed axe. They're also packing frag grenades as well as the expendable conscript rule. And the last that we're going to spend our 50 credits on for our 1,000 credit roster is on a Rogue Doc, because of course we would. This is a Trauma Team. They're all about surviving and also keeping their clients alive with medical care, and a Rogue Doc does that perfectly. So for 50 credits, this fighter has a last pistol as well as Medicaid kit, the Medicaid skill, as well as the patch of special rule, which means that if you need to do a medical escort mission, you could take your fighter to the Rogue Doc instead, not pay any credits, in order to help save this fighter and also to stabilize them. And that just pretty much overall fits with the narrative of what this gang would be about. So we have 2 Medicaid kits, we also have a bioscanner in this gang, we also have a Rogue Doc, so this gang is going to be extremely survivable. Now, for those of you guys who want to take out your campaign list onto the Ash Waste, or if you want to take on the Underhells campaign, you are allowed 400 credits for your fighters, for vehicles, and our fighters out the mounted condition. So let's talk about exactly what that would look like. Alright, so your vehicle is going to be the REO Meat Wagon. The REO Meat Wagon is the name of the rival emergency combat ambulance system that is created from the Cyberpunk universe. Their Trauma Team's direct rival. And I thought it'd be kind of cool to use the REO Meat Wagon name for their vehicle. Oh, and a fun fact about Cyberpunk, David Martinez, the character from the Edgerunners anime, that's who his mother works for. She works as an EMT for REO Meat Wagon. That's why their ambulance has got that interesting like retro blue, orange, and red stripe color on their ambulance, and she also wears those large yellow jackets. That's why, because it's a signature from the REO Meat Wagon characters from the Cyberpunk universe. But anyways, fun fact over with. So your REO Meat Wagon is going to be a Palanite Ranger. It's going to cost you 400 credits. This character is going to be driving a custom rig, and they're going to be having twin-linked heavy stubbers as their primary weapon. They also have a small transport cage, which overall fits the idea of an AV4, so your fighters are inside and protected. It also comes with anti-grav generators, so that way this vehicle becomes a skimmer. So that way it can just kind of glide across enemy terrain. It can go over impassable terrain as well, and at the same time kind of hover around, kind of like what an AV4 would do in the Cyberpunk universe. We're also giving it a redundant drive system as well as an engine shell, just in case those two systems take a non-glancing hit to your systems. It'll take a glancing hit instead and makes the ship a little more survivable. We also have an easy turnover engine just because you had 5 credits left over, so why why not? And they're also giving this vehicle a searchlight as well, for a couple reasons. One is because if you're being in the Underhells campaign, visibility as well as in the Ash Waste is a huge issue, visibility wise, so a searchlight helps to solve that problem, so that way you can engage your opponents with your twin-linked heavy stubber. And at the same time, it just kind of fits narratively as well, because if you're kind of flying in to find your victim or find your client, you can use a searchlight to try to find your clients, that way you can save them. So it fits like that. Now, the important thing to remember here too is that in case you're playing in the Underhells campaign and you decide to be either a Malstrain allegiance or a Malstrain corrupted gang, your bad zone enforcers would just be a little bit different the way you would do so. So if you decide to use this list and use it for those campaigns, the only major difference is when it comes to your enlisted Hive scum. Instead of using enlisted Hive scum, you'll use Malstrain brood scum instead, which is actually better for you because they're exempt from the expendable conscript special rule, which means these guys can now be part of group activation. So if you're going to be a bad zone enforcer in a gang and you're playing in the Underhells, always go with the Malstrain allegiance or Malstrain corruptions. That way you can get access to these guys. So like I said before, delinquent account holders number 113, 114, and 115, the group equipped exactly the same way as in the previous list. The only difference is that they're no longer considered enlisted Hive scum. They are brood scum, and therefore the expendable conscripts special rule doesn't apply to them, and that way they can be part of larger group activations. And since we're on the idea of the Underhells campaign, if you decide to be an Architect Hunter Allegiance instead, you will get access to an Abyssal Ferryman team. In this case, I would recommend taking the Survivor Enclave for a customized Abyssal Ferryman team, so that way you can activate that one. And the reason why is because you get the special chance special rule, which allows you to make an additional medical or escort mission once per campaign cycle. So every single week that your gang fights, you have 2 medical escort mission options. You have one with your road doc, and you also have one through the Survivor Enclave as well. Combined with your Medicaid kits, you're going to be quite survivable as a gang, so that part is quite nice about that. Now, your Ferryman skipper is going to be a character named Tehart Solid Rain. Tycho is his character's name. This character is going to be a Ferryman skipper, and this is the characteristic we're taking for this fighter with a 4-inch wind allowance, 4+ weapon skill, 3+ ballista skill, 3 strength, 4 toughness, 2 wounds, 3 initiative, 2 attacks, 7 leadership, 6 cool, 7 willpower, and 5 intelligence. Now this character automatically comes with mesh armor for 5 armor save, but we're equipping this character with a plasma gun. And the reason why is because plasma guns are amazing, and that's why we're taking it. We're also giving this character a stub gun as a backup weapon, as well as photo goggles so that we can see on visibility conditions, and this character also has the fast shot ability so that we can shoot twice in an activation. Up next, we have Cantez Crazy Shot Stone, which is going to be your Ferryman rig hand for this Abyssal Ferryman team. This character's going to have 5-inch wind allowance with 4+ weapon skill, 4+ ballista skill, 3 strength, 4 toughness, 3 wounds, 5 initiative, 2 attacks, 8 leadership, 8 cool, 8 willpower, and 7 intelligence. Now this character automatically comes with flak armor for 6 armor save, but we're also giving this character a grenade launcher with frag and crack grenades, as well as photo goggles. That way they can see in all visibility conditions, and grenade launchers are also quite nice as well. 3-inch blast template with a frag grenade. You also got that high strength, high damage crack grenade for higher end targets. It's just a good versatile weapon. And we're giving this character the Overwatch skill as well, so that way they can interrupt enemy activations with that grenade launcher. And then lastly, of course, we have the Wild Beast, which is going to be your Ferryman Steersman. Once again, character driving a custom rig, but this time we're doing it a little bit differently. We're going to give it the mining laser so that we can engage high toughness targets with that Strength 9 mining laser. But we're also going to give this thing anti-grav generators so that way you can kind of transport around and kind of skim around the battlefield like you would if you were an AV4. Then we're going to give this thing a transport bed so that way you can put your fighters on the vehicle as passengers. Unfortunately, you will not be as protected as you would be in a transport cage, but we just ran out of credits. And then of course, for the last 5 credits that left over, we gave it an easy turnover engine as well. So now that we're done talking about the Underhive, Underhells, as well as Ash Waste lists, let's go and talk about the Aranthian Succession. So, in case you want to take your Bad Zone Enforcers to the maximum level at the Aranthian Succession, this is going to be your Paladin Hospitalers gang at for Trauma Team 009, rating at 2,400 credits. So let's go and talk about exactly what your fighters look like this time around. For the most part, your Aranthian Succession roster is going to be very similar to the previous rosters that we discussed before. We're just adding some more additional things to them to make it a little bit more survivable. For example, Captain Kale Redline Orlin is still going to be your Bad Zone Forcer Captain. This time they're costing 250 credits because they come with the armor under suit, but we're also upgrading with layered flak armor as well, so that we have a 4-up armor save as well as a 5-up armor save against blast attack weapons. This character is still packing an Enforcer Bolt Gun, but their side weapon, or side arm this time is an auto pistol with man-stopper rounds, so they have a strength 4 shooting attack for backup weapon as well as for close combat. We're also giving this character photo goggles that can see in all visibility conditions. They automatically come with manacles, and we're giving them the fast shot skill, so that way they can still shoot twice in a per activation. Sergeant Medic's command makes a return as well. Your Bad Zone Sergeant this time is costing 205 credits this time around. And the reason why is because they're packing armor under suit as well as layered flak armor for the benefits we described above. Still has a concussion carbine and a stub gun for a backup weapon, but we're giving them a power maul. And the reason why is because due to the short range nature of the concussion carbine, this person is more apt to being charged at in close combat, so that power maul is going to make it a little more survivable. Plus they have that stub gun as well, so they get additional attack in close combat. They have photo goggles that we can see in all visibility conditions. They still automatically come with manacles, and they still have the Overwatch skill. Now, because we're in the Aranthian Succession, you have more credits to use for our gang, so you're going to have another Bad Zone Sergeant. This time it's going to be Sergeant Mira Reaper Dressed. This is going to be a 235 credit fighter with armored undersuit as well as layered flak armor. Now, this character is packing an SLHG Assault Ram with an auxiliary grenade launcher that fires both choke gas grenades as well as frag grenades. Very powerful close combat attack weapon, also really great for versatile attacks as well. Plus, it comes with a grenade launcher, which makes it also really nice as well. We're giving this fighter a stub gun for a backup weapon as well as photo goggles, see all visibility conditions. They automatically come with manacles as well. And we're giving you this character that got your 6 skills, so that way they can also interrupt enemy activations in case they charge at somebody to protect one of your fighters. A great way to interrupt enemy charging actions, which is a great way to troll your opponents. And then we also have another Bad Zone Patrolman this time. This time this character's name is Trauma Tech Alpha. They're a Bad Zone Patrolman Specialist and ready to cost at 245 credits. This fighter's going to have armor undersuit as well as layered flak armor, so they have a really good armor save. And we're giving this character a heavy stubber, so that way they can fire that rapid fire weapon at strength 4. It makes a great heavy assault weapon as well. It's got a stub gun for a backup weapon as well as manacles, giving them photo goggles so they can see in all visibility conditions. And they also suffer from the broken supply line rule, but because the heavy stubber is not in that list, it doesn't really apply to this fighter. And once again, this fighter is also a specialist in our gang. Trauma Tech Echo also makes a return, this time costing 160 credits. This character still has their armor undersuit, but we're upgrading them with layered flak armor this time around. And we're also upgrading their auto gun with a telescopic sight so that they get short range bonuses for long range shots when they aim. They also have a stub gun still for backup weapon manacles as well. They still maintain their bioscanner, but we're adding a photo goggle to them so they can see in all visibility conditions, and they're still of course subject to the broken supply line special rule. Trauma Tech's Kilo and Halo also make a return as well. Kilo this time costs 185 credits. Once again, still's got the armored undersuit, but we're upgrading to a layered flak armor. We're also upgrading their last gun with telescopic sights as well, so that way they can apply their short range bonus to long range shooting. They also got a stub gun for a backup weapon as well as manacles, because they automatically come with those. Still maintains a Medicaid kit, but we're also upgrading with the photo goggles, so that way they can see all visibility conditions, and they're also subject to the broken supply line rules. And then Trauma Tech Halo also makes a return, this time at 175 credits. Armor undersuit, upgraded with layered flak armor, shotgun with solid scatter ammo still, stub gun, manacles as well as Medicaid kit, but this time the only difference is they also have photo goggles so that way they can see in the dark as well. Rounding out our fighters are our delinquent account holders. They make a return once again, our enlisted Hive scum. So account holder 113 this time has been upgraded to cost 165 credits. This time we're giving him mesh armor as well for fire armor save, as well as auto pistol, flail, as well as frag grenades, and we're giving the vigilance pattern assault shield as well. So that mesh armor becomes a 4-up armor save against range attacks and a 3-up armor save against melee attacks. We're also giving them photolumens so that way they can search the darkness with their photolumens as well, and they still suffer from the expendable conscripts. Now the idea behind this list is that these guys kind of act as barriers, if you will, when they go in to swoop in to save people. So your delinquent account holders, your Hive scum will take point using their vigilance patterns or assault shields to protect the trauma team techs as well as their superiors behind them while they take care of their their clients, and these guys kind of take the full brunt of attack using the shield to protect themselves, suppressing with frag grenades and fighting in close combat when they have to. So that's the idea behind these delinquent account holders. And the same thing applies to delinquent account holder number 114. Once again, upgraded 165 credits. This character's got mesh armor, stub gun and chainsword, frag grenades, as well as a vigilance assault shield. They also got photolumens as well as expendable conscript special rule. Up next is delinquent account holder number 115. Another enlisted Hive scum with 165 credits. They have mesh armor as well as a stub gun with a two-handed axe, as well as frag grenades, a vigilance of pattern assault shield, as well as photolumens, and also the expendable conscript special rule. And then once again, our rogue doc, Doc 0, is also still part of this list at 50 credits with last pistol, Medicaid kit, as well as the Medicaid skill and the patch-up special rule. And last but not least, because we're in the Aranthian Succession, we get 400 credits for vehicles, so the REO Meat Wagon also makes return as well. Our Paladin Ranger for 400 credits. Slow driving custom rig with twin linked heavy stubbers as well as small transport cage. It's also got anti-grav generators, so that way it's a skimmer vehicle. It's got redundant drive system and engine shell, as well as an easy turnover engine and searchlights as well. Now, if you decide to use any Alliance game mechanics for your guys' campaigns, we do have some recommendations with some gangs that would actually be good for them. For the Merchant Guilds, the Iron Guild and the Corpse Guild would actually make really good choices for this gang. The reason why is because the Iron Guild would be good because you could actually use that for getting better weapons for your gang. Plus, having additional D3 plus 2 Hive Scum never hurts to have that on the battlefield as well. The Corpse Guild, ideally enough, would actually make a really good alliance as well. The reason why is because they kind of act narratively, right? Because if you have a dead body, who are you going to give it to? You give it to the Corpse Guild. Plus, the Corpse Guild brings a lot of close combat support that this gang does not have, so that could be really helpful for you as well. There could be some complications, especially if you have some fighters who suffer critical injury that could interfere with your road docs as well as your road dock game mechanics, so do keep that in mind, but could be an interesting alliance all the same. Now, for the noble houses, I recommend either House Graham or the Imperial House. House Graham because you get those rerolls for your guys' ammo rolls, which is always good to have. Plus, the fighters are really good too. Having the ability to manipulate what scenarios you go into kind of represents the fact that you have dispatch helping you out to get you to an advantageous situation, whatever you're rolling in as a trauma team. The Imperial House also makes a really good mix too because the Paladin Companions, right? You could represent that these guys are coming in to save any nobles that might be trapped in whatever campaign setting you're in, so they send Paladin Companions to go get them with those disintegration guns. Having the ability also to enrich yourself further to territories is also a nice little boon on top of that. Now, if you decide to become a rogue trauma team, you wanted to walk the way of the outlaw, for your criminal organizations, I recommend the Narco Lords or the Rogue Factoria. Narco Lords actually narratively makes sense for a trauma team to actually be corrupted with. You can imagine that this trauma team might have sold chems and narcotics and pharmaceuticals on the low to the Narco Lords until they got caught, so they still maintain that relationship. Plus, it'd be kind of neat to have a bunch of drug-fueled fighters out there on the tabletop, would be kind of neat. Plus, you also get D3 plus 2 Hive Scum, which is always useful. And of course, Rogue Factoria might actually be a really good benefit as well because your gang might need some illicit weaponry, and Rogue Factoria kind of fits in that. It kind of fits in the same vein as the Iron Guild. And plus, you get the bodies that you get from the Rogue Factoria Rogue Party that you could use to help you out fighting your battles as well. So those are some of the recommendations I would make for your alliances for this gang. So in conclusion, once again, thank you Joel Rutherford 4510 for this amazing idea. This individual was the one who came up with the idea of actually playing their Paladin Enforcers as a trauma team gang, especially specifically for Bad Zone Enforcers. And when they made that comment, I thought that was such a cool idea because I got this idea like, yeah, it could work because you could use your, like you said, using the Hive Scum as delinquent account holders to be spammable expendables until they pay back their debts, having a trauma team guys coming in and swooping in and saving their clients and stuff. I thought it'd be a really cool game mechanic, and my imagination went kind of wild with it, so I was able to make these lists from it. And plus, Joel Rutherford 4510 also recommend using the Naval Breacher miniatures in their gang, and that's why I picked some of the specific design choices we used to making this gang in terms of equipment was based on those kind of model kits that you could use. So what are your guys' thoughts on this list? Do you think it's a good list, a bad list? What kind of changes would you make to match your playstyle? And if you end up using this list, please let me know in the comments box down below. I'd love to see how this gang would perform for you on the tabletop if you do end up using it. And of course, if you guys have any other suggestions for some new gangs that you'd like to see, please put it down in the comments box down below. And if I think it's a cool idea, I'll give you credit, just like our buddy Joe Rutherford over here. So that's good for you guys. As always, please feel free to like, comment, and or subscribe. You guys' input is invaluable to us as always. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, as well as blogger.com for all the latest greatest hobby news related to this channel. I am Commander Cheapskate. That's good for this one, you guys. I'll catch you guys next one. Peace out and stay classy.